Will the mayor delay the filing date?
I'm just hearing about that idea today, actually, in the midst of all these things swirling around, and that's something we need to decide on really quick. So can't give you an answer yet, but I can say we will have an answer in the next 24 hours, 48 hours.
Okay. From Paula, also by Twitter, can nonprofits that rely on ACS after-school contracts count on getting paid, even if there is no after-school?
That's an excellent question. We're going to have to figure out how much we can pay people if there's not work going on. I don't think it is a given that we'll be able to do that, obviously, unless we can convert the folks who do the work to something different. So that's the kind of situation that's a real thorny one. Another one will have to come back with an answer, but I think the simple way to think about it is if people are not working at all, there'll be a limit to how much we can cover them. Again, that's why I think we need some federal relief quickly. If we use them for something else, a different kind of work, that's an entirely different discussion.
Okay, here's one I know you've been thinking about. What is the plan for the April 28th primary? And there's one viewer who says, can state and local government invoke police power to replace in-person voting with by mail and send every registered voter a mail-in ballot without having to process a request for them?
Fantastic question. Obviously, we had the special election in Queens coming up. We were not in a position to do a whole new system in time for that. I was hoping we could get that done, but every day things have gotten worse, so I canceled that yesterday. And that'll just have to be postponed to the future. But one of the questions is there an entirely different way to go about that election? There's places, I believe Washington State is an example, that only do mail-in at this point for certain elections. I think that's right, or some states in the country, or primarily mail-in. So can we do that with police powers? I'm not sure, and obviously we're not sure what's going to happen with the legislature these next few days, but I think it's a great question and we should decide quickly. Can we get it done with our own powers? Can we only get it done if the legislature approves it? If we don't have mail-in, I think we are in great danger that that April primary will not happen.
Okay, here's a question from my friends at the Brooklyn Young Republican Club. What steps are being taken to make sure internet is accessible to all who need it? With education moving online, internet equity is important.
Well, the Republicans are showing me something tonight with some interest in equity. I appreciate that. Good for them. The chancellor made clear yesterday and today that a lot of equipment is going to be put in the hands of our young people who don't have computers or tablets or the right equipment to access online learning. There's going to be equipment given to them, but again, the Department of Education will own it and they'll expect to get it back at the end of the school year. We're trying to work on access to connectivity. We know there's a lot of kids, a lot of families that don't have it, and we are obviously going to have very few alternative places, but we're trying to see if there's some ways we can improve that. It's going to be thorny, Errol. This is another one of 100 reasons why I was so uncomfortable and the chancellor was so uncomfortable closing schools, because we knew there would be so many negative dominoes that fell. But we will do everything we can do to get young people that connectivity and the equipment. I think it will be imperfect, but I think we can at least get to a lot of kids.
Okay, and then finally, I guess I'll merge two of these questions. Legal Aid is calling on the NYPD to put a moratorium on arrests, especially low-level offenses, and that's connected with, I guess, the conditions in the detention centers and the jails. And as I heard you talk about, we've had a correction employee who died there. So I guess overall, I'm wondering, what is the plan to make sure we're not increasing the population in the jails? And what are the conditions as far as safety for the staff and the detainees in the city jails?
I'm very concerned for our correction officers and the inmates, and it's obviously a particularly sensitive location. So far, there's been a lot of measures taken to protect people's health inside our correctional facilities. The individual we lost, it's tragic. He apparently, according to the logbook, what we know so far, never went inside a jail facility, had a different kind of role that did not actually take him inside the jails. I'm praying that's true. But we're going to be dealing with a lot of challenges, Errol. I think the question of how we alter policing is a very complex one, and we're working on that. But I would caution, we've had a few months where there's been a crime increase. It's been overwhelmingly, and this is the fact, property crimes and youth-on-youth crime, and in some ways a combination of both. I am very concerned about protecting people. I'm very concerned about public safety with hundreds of thousands of teenagers now not going to be in school. So obviously the goal is to only arrest someone if we absolutely need to, but we are going to need the police to be very vigilant and present. And it does not mean we're not going to still have to arrest people in certain situations, obviously. So I can't give you a blanket notion that we're going to reduce arrests. We have to think about keeping the public safe at the same time as we're dealing with this crisis.
Okay, we'll leave it there for now. I know you've got a lot of work to do. Thank you for spending some time with us. Mayor de Blasio, we'll talk again soon, I hope.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay, we're going to take a short break here. Coming up next, Louis Donnelly will bring you today's headlines. Stay with us.
La safari oggi